Block
Now into open
report.
discussion.
Open discussion.
Open discussion.
USA,
Go ahead, Vice President.
Number one,
USSR, round
what I
one, fight.
believe is that we expand Obamacare and we increase it. We do not wipe any. And one of the big debates we had with 23 of my colleagues trying to win the nomination that I won, were saying that Biden wanted to allow people to have private insurance. They can. They do. They will under my proposal.
That's not what you said,
But
and it's
that
not what
is-
your party has said.
that is
Your
centered
party
lie.
doesn't say
As
your
the
party
Jack
wants to
said.
go socialist
Woo!
medicine.
Party
Go
is
down.
socialist
Right
medicine.
now, I am
And
the
they're going to
Democratic
dominate
Party.
you, Joe. You know that.
I am the Democratic Party right now. The platform of the
Not according
Democratic
to
Party
Harris.
is what I, in fact, approved of. What I
Nigga Joe swear
here's
I'm
the
the
deal.
Democratic
The
Party.
deal is that it's going to wipe out the existing condition. And by the way, the 200,000 people that have died on his watch, how many of those have survived? Well, there's 7 million people that contracted COVID. What does it mean for them going forward if you strike down your
Oh, look at
Affordable
his
Care
face.
Act?
Joe, you've had 308,000 military people dying because you couldn't provide a proper health care in the military. So don't tell me
I'm
about
happy
this.
to talk about
And
that.
if you were here, it
Here's
would
the
be
deal.
200, it would be 2 million people because you were very late on the draw. You didn't
Get
want
Get
me
him,
to
Joe.
ban
Why are
China,
you letting this
which
nigga
was
get
heavily
Yeah,
infected.
you gotta
You
get them.
didn't want me to ban,
All right, gentlemen,
which was heavily
Cut him
infected.
off,
You would
man.
have been
Quit
months
letting
later.
this nigga dominate.
Months later.
Mr.
I'm
President,
talking about 2 million people.
You're not
President, as a
President.
moderator, we are going to talk about COVID in the next segment. Go ahead.
Let me finish. The point is that the president also is opposed to Roe v. Wade. That's on the ballot as well in the court. And so that's also at stake right now. And so the election is all
You don't
ready
know it's
to
on the
go.
ballot. Why is it on the ballot?
Because
Why
because
is
you
it on the ballot?
it's on the ballot
You don't know
I
that.
don't think so.
in the court.
There's nothing happening there.
Donna, what do
And
you
you don't know
require
her
from me?
view on Roe v. Wade. You
I don't know
her view.
Well, all right. Let's talk. We got a lot to unpack here, gentlemen. We got a lot of time. So, on health care, and then we'll come back to Roe v. Wade.
All right.
Mr. President, the Supreme Court
He
will
is your ass right
the
now.
case a week after the election in which the Trump administration, along with 18
Joe's
state
smiling
attorneys
and laughing
general,
like
are
everything.
seeking to
Hey,
overturn
AC Cool, this nigga mother.
Obamacare, to end Obamacare.
Right.
Who have spent the last
Because they want to give good health
if
care.
I may ask my question. Over the last 4 years, you have promised to repeal and replace Obamacare, but you have never in these 4 years come up with a plan, a comprehensive plan to replace Obamacare. Well,
I got
Chris
rid of
Wallace
the
is doing
individual
better.
I'm going to
mandate.
give you an
Excuse me,
opportunity.
I got rid of the individual mandate, which was a
That
big
is not a
chunk of
comprehensive
Obamacare.
plan.
That is absolutely a big thing. That was the
I
worst
didn't
part of
ask you,
Obamacare.
sir.
Chris,
You're
that was
debating
the
him,
worst
not
part of
me. Let me
Obamacare.
ask my
Well,
question.
I'll ask Joe.
No,
The
on the
individual
for real. When the
mandate was the
moderator
most unpopular
Vice
aspect
President,
of
Mr.
Obamacare.
President,
I got rid of
motherfucking
I'd like to
candidate,
give
nigga. I want
Mr.
Chris
President,
Wallace.
I'm the moderator of this debate, and I would like you to let me ask my question, and then you can answer.
Oh.
In the course of these 4 years, you've never come up with a comprehensive
Oh.
plan to replace Obamacare, and just this last Thursday, you signed a largely symbolic executive order to protect people with pre-existing conditions 5 days before this debate. So my question, sir, is what is the Trump health care plan?
First of all, I guess I'm debating you, not him, but that's okay.
Is it?
Not surprising. Let me just tell you something. That's nothing symbolic. I'm cutting drug prices. I'm going with favored nations, which no
That's what I
president
was
has
worried
encouraged
about.
to do because you're going against big pharma. Drug prices will be coming down 80 or 90%.
Yeah.
You could have done it during your 47-year period in government, but you didn't do it. Nobody's done it. So we're cutting health care.
What about
All of the
pre-existing
things that
conditions?
we've done, insulin,
Joe,
I'm
bitch,
giving
she
you
gonna lose.
insulin.
Yeah.
It's going to it's destroying families, destroying people because I'm getting it for so cheap. It's like water.
Now
You
you
know the truth. So cheap. Take a look at all of the drugs, what we're doing, prescription drug prices. We're going to allow our governors now to go to other countries to buy drugs because they pay just a tiny
I
fraction.
say this is open discussion.
No,
Let me
but
ask
this
you
is
about,
big.
let me
This
you'll
is
be
big
happy, sir.
stuff.
You'll be happy about pick up on one of your points to ask the vice president, which is he points out that you would like to add a public option to Obamacare. The argument that he makes, and other Republicans take, is that that is going to end private insurance. And well, Sorry, asking the question.
Please,
It will
No,
end.
please crack a joke on this
It will
one.
end private
And
insurance and
Republicans,
create a government takeover of health
It
care.
does not. It's only for those people who are so poor they qualify for Medicaid. They can get that free in most states, except governors who want to deny people who are poor Medicaid. Anyone who qualifies for Medicare would Medicaid would automatically be enrolled in the public option.
Oh,
The
no,
vast
no, no.
majority of the American
No,
people would still not be
that right now.
in that option. Number one.
Joe, you
Number
agreed
two.
with Bernie
Number-
Sanders
I-
and
I-
far left
Number
on their
one,
manifesto.
with your words.
And that is you socialize medicine.
Look,
Are you
I'm
saying
not
you
going
didn't
to
agree?
listen. The fact of the matter is, Bernie
You don't want
Sanders,
Not by much.
I beat him a whole hell of a lot. I'm
Not
here,
by
I'm here
much.
standing facing you, buddy.
Pocahontas would have left 2 days early. Would have lost every
All
primary.
he knows how to
on
do is
Super
hurt.
Tuesday.
Look,
You got very lucky.
here's the deal. I got very lucky. I'm going to get very lucky tonight as well. And tonight I'm going to make sure, because here's the deal. Here's the deal. The
Yeah.
fact is that everything he's saying so far is simply a lie. I'm not here to call out his lies. Everybody knows he's a liar.
But you
I just
agree.
want to
You're
make
the
sure.
liar.
I want to make sure.
You last week, last week.
I want to make
Mr.
sure.
President, can you let him finish?
He doesn't know how to do that. He has, you know, you pick
Right.
the wrong guy, the wrong.
Listen, you agreed with
Here's the
Bernie
deal.
Sanders and the
The whole
manifesto.
idea
Let
that
him-
there is no manifesto.
Please let him speak.
Number two,
You just lost the left.
number two,
You just lost the left. You agreed with Bernie Sanders on a plan.
folks,
That's absolutely
folks, do you have any idea what
Stop
this
letting
is
these niggas
doing?
talk over you.
Do you have any
Socialized medicine.
Mr.
I'll
President,
tell you what, he is not for any help for people needing health care. Because he in fact already has cost 10 million people their health care that they had from their employers because of his recession. Number one. Number two, there are 20 million people getting health care through Obamacare now. If he wants to take it away.
Good shot.
Ever look you in the eye and say that's what he wants to do. Take it away.
No, I want to give you
Number
better
three.
health care at
You're
a
not-
much
that's
lower
what
price.
he
Because
wants. And by the way, he
Obamacare
doesn't
is
know
the
how.
only
He
one
doesn't know
that
how to do
already
that.
fixed
He
it.
has never
Already
offered a
fixed it
plan.
to an extent.
He has never
Obamacare,
done a
as you
single
might
thing.
know, but probably don't.
gentlemen, you realize if you're both speaking at the same time,
And it's too
let the president, go ahead.
Obamacare is no good. We made it better. And I had a choice to make very early on. We took away the individual mandate. We guaranteed pre-existing conditions, but took away the individual mandate. Listen, this is the way it is. And that destroyed.
5
They
days
shouldn't
ago,
even call it
nigga.
Obamacare. Then I had a choice to make. Do I let my people run it really well or badly? If I run it
Why
badly,
ain't you
they'll
cutting
probably
into that
blame
nigga?
him,
You
but they'll
supposed to
blame
say
me.
what
But
I
more
just
importantly,
said.
I want to help people.
Well, mind
We
you,
supposed to cut to that.
You're
Yeah,
gonna
you
run
did
it
that
so
shit
well.
5 days ago.
And I just had a meeting with them. They said the problem is no matter how well you run Obamacare,
Fuck
it's a
that.
disaster.
Fuck that.
It's too
The
expensive.
president ain't letting him
Premiums
do
are
that.
too high.
He just
and it
moved
doesn't
his
work.
ear.
So we do
That's why
want to
niggas lose
I-
Trump.
Chris,
You think Trump
I
listening to
understand
Mike
this,
Wallace?
but I have to give you one
Mike had to
time.
yell at that
Please
nigga.
let the
Yeah.
vice president.
So
but at the
fuck
same
that.
time, I
He
Cut
think
that
has
nigga
a
off.
plan for health care.
about
He sends,
Please.
he sends out wishful thinking. He has executive
Fuck
orders
that.
with no power. He hasn't lowered drug
Yeah.
costs for anybody.
You know who
He
else
promised
did
the
that?
healthcare plan since he
Hillary
got
Clinton.
elected.
And look how it worked out for her.
Yeah,
Like
but
almost
nobody likes
everything
him.
else he talks
Nobody
about.
likes
He does not have a plan.
But I'm
different.
saying,
He doesn't have a plan. And the fact
when he
is,
was
this
letting
man
her
doesn't
talk
know
over
what
her
he's talking
and
about.
all that
All right,
shit,
I have one,
they was
one
like,
final
oh,
question
he
for you,
dominated
Sure.
her. You
Mr.
know, he
Vice
really
President.
running it. If he let that nigga
If
do the
Senate
same shit, that's what's
Republicans,
gonna happen.
we were
You not
talking
standing
originally
up,
about
putting
the
your
Supreme
chest out
Court here.
like he
If
did
Senate
earlier when he was like,
Republicans
he's a
go
liar.
ahead
We all know
and
he's lying.
confirm
Like, he needs to
Justice
do that
Barrett,
shit. And he
Right.
needs to start
there has
calling
been
this
talk
nigga Donald.
about ending the
But I
filibuster,
watched him.
and
Yeah,
even
he wasn't
packing the
gonna go.
court, adding to the 9 justices there. You call this a
Yeah, I
distraction
know.
by the president, but in fact, it wasn't brought up by the
Listen,
president.
man.
It was brought up by
I don't
some
even
of
like
your
Joe Biden
Democratic
that much.
colleagues
I'm
in
saying-
the
I
Congress.
am too.
So my
and I'm
question to
still
you is, you
gonna
have
vote for this
refused
thing, whether
in
he
the
gets
past to
ass
talk
right
about it.
or not.
Are you
But-
willing
yeah,
to
he's
tell
against
the
the rest.
American people
He's
tonight
already on.
whether or not you will support either
Yeah,
ending the
Trump got this nigga
filibuster
already on the road.
or packing the court?
Whatever position I take on that, that'll become the issue. The issue is the American people should speak. You should go out and vote. You're in voting now. Vote and let your senators know how
Are you gonna
strongly
pack
you
the
feel.
court?
Vote now.
gonna pack the
Make
court?
sure you, in fact, let people know
He doesn't
your
want to answer the
senators.
question.
I'm not going to answer the question
Why would
because
you answer that
because
question?
the
You wanna
question
put a
is
lot of
the
new
question
Supreme Court
is
justices,
the
radical
question-
left.
Will you
Who
shut
is
up,
on?
man?
Listen, who is on your list, Joe?
This
Who's
is
on your
so
list?
Gentlemen, I think
This
we've
is
ended
so
this.
unprecedented.
We have ended,
I'm
no,
not
no,
going to give a list.
we have ended this segment. We're going to move on to the second segment.
That was really a productive segment, wasn't it? Keep yapping, man.
The people understand, Jeff.
They should.
47
Out of
years
the
you've
moon
done
rock?
nothing. They understand.
All right. The second subject is COVID-19. It's an awfully serious subject, so let's try to be serious about it. We have had more than 7 million cases of coronavirus in the United States. And more than 200,000 people have died. Even after we produce a vaccine, experts say that it could be months or even years before we come back to anything approaching normal. My question for both of you is, based on what you have said and done so far, and what you have said you would do starting in 2021, why should the American people trust you more than your opponent to deal with this public health crisis going forward? In this case, the question goes to you first, sir. 2 minutes uninterrupted.
Public health crisis
Good luck.
going
Now
forward.
you gotta win this fight.
200,000 dead.
This
You
nigga
said
has
over
no
7
feet
million
to
in
stand
the
on.
United States. We, in fact, have 5%, 4% of the world's population, 20% of the deaths, 40,000 people a day
5%
contracting
4% of the world's
In
population.
addition to that,
5% of the deaths.
between 750 and 1,000 people a day are dying. When he was presented with that number, he said it is what it is. Or it is what it is because you are who you are. That's why it is. The president has no plan.
Boom.
He hasn't
That's-
laid out anything. He knew all the way back in
That's why it
February how serious this crisis was. He knew it was a deadly disease. What did he do? It's on tape. He's acknowledging he knew it. He said he didn't tell us or give people a warning of it because he didn't want to panic the American people. You don't panic. He panicked. In addition to that, what did he do? He went in and we were insisting that the people we had on the ground in China should be able to go to Wuhan and determine for themselves how dangerous
Yeah,
this was.
so
You should have
He did
made
not
that
even
more,
ask
more
Xi.
pop. Like,
He told us what a great
you
job
panicked,
Xi is
nigga.
doing. He said we owe him a
Told
debt
that
of
nigga, you
gratitude
panicked.
for being so transparent with us. And what did he do then? He then did nothing. He waited and waited and waited. He still doesn't have a plan. I laid out back in
Mhm.
March exactly what we should be doing. And I laid out again in July what we should be doing. We should be providing all the
I don't know.
protective gear possible. We should be providing
Whoever
the
wrote
money
that
the
for you
House
didn't
has
write it right.
passed in order
Next
to
thing
be
you
able
should
to
say, what
go
do
out
you do then?
and
Turn
get
around and
people
call
the
it
help
China
they
virus.
need to keep their businesses open. Open schools will
That's
cost a
what
lot
he
of
did.
money. You should get
Are
out
you
of
gonna
your
say? Because
bunker
that's what I
and get out of
always
the
wondered.
sand trap and
China
get
doing
in
a great
your
job.
golf
They
course
did
and go in the
this, they turn
Oval
around,
Office and bring
China
together
virus.
the Democrats and
China
Republicans and
virus.
fund what needs to be done
Like,
now to
wait a minute.
save lives.
So if we would have listened to
Wait, you
you,
have 2 minutes.
if we would have listened to you, the country would have been left wide open. Millions of
Nah,
people would
man.
have died.
I mean,
not
that's really
200,000,
dope.
and
Well,
one
out
person
with
is
you.
too much.
Oh.
It's China's fault. It should have never happened. They stopped it from going in, but it was
About to
China's
host.
fault. And by the way, when you talk about numbers, you don't know
And
how
see,
many
now
people
he's
died in China.
debating with
You don't know
Joe
how many people
said,
died
like,
in
Big
Russia.
Joe
You don't
ain't
know how many
president.
people
That's
died
what
in
I'm
India.
saying.
They don't exactly give
That's
us
why
the
you need to
recount,
keep pointing
just so
out
you
the wrong
understand.
shit you're
But
saying.
if you look at what we've done, I
We
closed
already
it
know
and
you're
you
gonna
said
do a
he's
better job.
xenophobic,
Talk about
he's a
him.
racist, and he's xenophobic because you
It's
didn't think I should have
unrelated to
closed
your
our country.
We gotta
Wait a
start.
minute.
It's his 2 minutes.
You didn't think we should have closed our country because you thought it was terrible. You wouldn't have closed it for another 2 months. By my doing it early, in fact, Dr. Fauci said President Trump saved thousands of lives. Many of your Democrat governors said
He never said
President
that.
Trump did a phenomenal job. We worked with the governor. Oh, really? Go take a look. The governors said I did a phenomenal job. Most of them said that. In fact, people that would not be necessarily on my side said that. President Trump did a phenomenal job. We did. We got the gowns,
None
we
of
got
them
the
said
masks,
that.
we made
said
the
that.
ventilators. You
None
wouldn't have
of
made
them said that. They
ventilators.
said
And now
he
we're
did a
weeks
good
away
job
from
at
a
that one
vaccine.
thing.
We're doing therapeutics already.
I don't
Fewer
know.
people are dying.
When they
get sick,
brought the shit
far
there,
fewer people are
the
dying.
SSS
Oh,
company.
yeah, that, yeah.
My
I
man
The only
was
thing
like,
I
that's a
haven't
good
done
job,
a good
thank
job, and that's
Right,
because
I
of fake
remember that.
news.
I remember.
No matter what
But
you
that
say
was
to them,
just
they
New
give you
York.
bad press on it. It's just
Yeah.
fake news. They give you good press.
I mean, I'm not
Nigga,
trying to hold
right.
New York
because
to
that's the way it is,
that.
unfortunately.
You're
Let me
from
just
New
tell you
York.
something. I
That's
don't
like,
care.
you
I've
know,
gotten
that's like
used to
me
it.
doing something.
But I'll tell you, Joe,
It's
you
like,
could
okay,
never have done the job that we did.
You know
You
that
don't
nigga
have it
hate
in
New
your
York
blood.
now.
You could have never
I
done
know,
it.
because they don't like him.
I know how to do the
Mhm.
job. I know how to get the job.
Well, you didn't do
done.
very well in swine flu. H1N1.
Yeah,
You
ask
were a
this nigga about
disaster.
that
Your own
400
chief
million
staff said you were a
14,000
disaster.
14,000 people died, not 200,000. There was
A
no
very-
economic
Let's-
recession.
sir, you made a
There
point.
was, there
less
was no
lethal
recession.
disease.
You made a point. Let him
And
answer.
there was no one, we didn't shut down the economy. This is his economy. He shut down. The reason it's shut down is because, look, you folks at home, how many of you got up this morning and had an empty chair at the kitchen table because someone died of COVID? How many of you were in a situation where you lost your mom or dad and you couldn't even speak to them? You had a nurse holding the phone up so you could, in fact, say
You
goodbye.
would have lost far
How
more.
many-
Oh.
Mm.
More people. And you would have been.
And by the way,
months later.
your own, his
behind me,
own CDC director says you could lose as many as another 200,000 people between now and the end of the year. And he held up and said, if we just wear a mask, we can save half those numbers. Just a mask. And by the way, in terms of the whole notion of a vaccine, we're for a vaccine, but I don't trust him at all, nor do you. I know you don't. What we trust is the scientists.
You don't
We
trust
trust
Johnson
Dr. Fauci.
Johnson, Pfizer.
Okay,
by the way,
gentlemen,
and then,
let me move on
I don't
to
trust him at all.
questions about the future because you both have touched on one of the two of the questions I'm going to ask. Focusing on the future first, President Trump,
I know you don't
you
trust
have
this nigga.
repeatedly
Good job,
either
Joe. That was
contradicted
a
or
good
been at odds with some of your government's own top scientists. The week before last, the head of the Centers for Disease Control, Dr. Redfield, said it would be summer
Either
before
contradicted
the
or been at
vaccine
odds with some of your
become generally available to the public.
The
He
head
said
of
that he
the
was
Centers for
confused
Disease Control,
and
Dr.
mistaken.
Redfield,
Those
said
were
it
your
would
two
be
words.
summer
But Dr. Slawi, the head of your
become
Operation
generally
Warp Speed,
available
has said exactly the same thing. Are they both wrong?
Well, I've
Mhm.
spoken to the companies and we can have it a lot sooner. It's a very political thing because people like this would
would
rather make it political than save lives. It is a very political thing. I've spoken to Pfizer, I've spoken to all of the people that you have to speak to. We have great Moderna, Johnson & Johnson, and others. They can go faster than that by a lot.
God.
Very political. The left, or I don't know if I call
So
them
you're
left, I don't know
suggesting
what I
that the
call them.
head of your Operation Warp Speed, Dr.
I
Slawi,
disagree with no, I disagree with both of them. And he didn't say that. He said it could be there, but it could also be much
No,
sooner.
but
I
will
have
it
in
be
my office
safe?
two days
he talked
Yeah,
about
they make
you a vaccine right now, nigga.
Right.
She said it's a possibility that we'll have the answer before November 1st. It could also
If
be
I
after.
was
generally
writing
Oh, we're
operators
going
up
to
that
deliver
in
it right
Texas.
away. We have the military
I've
all
been
set up.
asking,
Like,
like,
so
what's
when
up?
we gonna
They're
see
all
your
set
tax
up.
return?
We have
Hey, I
our
know
When we
military
gonna
that
see your
delivers
tax?
soldiers.
If we
and they
would have
can
got
do
some taxes,
200,000 a
that
day.
400 million,
They're
you
going
know,
to be
This is
Probably
the
would've
same man
It's all set
speaking
up.
of that,
by Easter months be gone away.
Hey, yo,
By
tax
the
man.
warm weather
What's going
of
on with
time.
the taxes?
I
What
would
can I
check.
be?
America.
I'll be on his
By the way,
ass
maybe
like
you
he
could
was on
inject some
Obama.
bleach in your
Man,
arm. That would
please.
take care of
What's up with the
Every
taxes?
every
That
time
was
every
said
time they see
sarcastic.
me,
That
I
was,
I
you
just
know,
want to see
I-
his
That
taxes.
was said
And
sarcastic.
so
Where's
here
that?
Because he keeps saying that
this man
IRS
is
shit, but
talking
let's be
about
real, bro.
vaccine.
That's just
Every
for the year that
serious,
you got that
every
70
serious
something million.
company is talking
Yeah,
about
right.
That's
I mean,
what
mind
you
you,
should
they
be on the
already,
art.
done
with the little
by
bit
the
they
end
got
of the
now,
year.
they already
The
know what's
distribution of
that's
that
what
vaccine
they
Yeah.
will not
It's
occur
like,
until
oh,
sometime beginning in the middle of next year to get
Where is
keep
it
that
going?
year,
if we get the
you
vaccine.
being audited.
And
You
pray
keep
God
that.
we will.
Give us
Pray
everything
God
else.
we
Mr.
will.
Vice President, I want to pick up
Nigga,
though.
you like
I
100 years
want
old.
to pick up on
No,
this
you
question.
saying
You
audited.
say the
Nigga.
public
Nobody audited.
can trust the scientists, but they can't trust
Yeah.
President
Nobody
Trump. In fact, you said that again tonight.
And they
Your
was
running mate,
auditing him
Senator
until he
Harris, goes
became
further,
president.
Yeah.
saying the
and all
public
this
health
stuff.
Now
experts,
you
quote,
control the
will be
IRS.
muzzled,
Why they gonna steal
You
all
will be
control
these
the
things?
IRS.
suppressed. Given the fact that
You know what
polls
I'm saying?
already
Like they gonna
show
run out on the White House.
that
Like we just
people are
discovered
concerned about the vaccine and are
We
reluctant
got to
to
come
take it,
take your gold
are
toilet.
you and your running mate, Senator Harris, contributing
like
to
that's
that
gonna happen.
No more than the question you just asked.
400 million
You
to
pointed
Russia.
out.
We all know
He
it's
puts
Russia.
pressure,
Mhm.
disagrees
All I know
with
is Russia.
his own
Everybody-
scientists.
But you're saying
Everybody
you can't.
knows.
Damn, I can't
Harris
even
is saying
believe
you
this
can't
nigga
trust
is
the
No,
science.
well, no, you can't trust the
all
science.
right.
She didn't say that. You can't
She,
trust.
she said the public health
They say
experts,
that.
quote,
I didn't hear the
muzzled,
question.
will be
Yeah,
suppressed.
well,
But you're saying
that's what he's going to try to do. But there's millions of scientists, there's thousands of scientists out there, like here at this great hospital, that don't work for him. Their job doesn't depend on him. That's not. They're the people. And
I
by the way,
spoke to the
and
scientists that are in charge.
By the way,
They will have the vaccine very soon.
It's great
do you believe for a moment what he's telling you in light of all the lies he's told you about the whole issue relating to COVID? He still hasn't even acknowledged that he knew this was happening, knew how dangerous it would be back in February, and he didn't even tell you. He's on record as saying it. he panicked or he just looked at the stock market. One of the two, because guess what? A lot of people die, and a lot more are going to die unless he gets a lot smarter, a lot quicker.
Mr. President,
Even tell
You used the word smart.
or he just looked at the
So you
stock
said you
market.
went
Yeah.
to Delaware State, but you forgot the
He
name of
panicked.
the college. You didn't go to Delaware State. Graduated
Mhm.
either the lowest or almost the lowest.
That was
Don't
a
ever
good
use the word smart with
And a
me.
good little home.
Don't ever use that word.
Oh, give me a
He's
break.
Because
not
you know
gonna get a
what?
lot of
There's
credit.
nothing smart
all.
about you, Joe. 47 years you've done
Let's
this.
have this debate.
And if you would have had, let me just tell you something. If you would have had the charge of what I was, we had closed the
Oh my
greatest
God.
economy in the history of our country. And by the way, now it's beginning again.
See,
And it's
we're going to
going
get
up
to the
fast.
economy in the next segment.
If you would have
Okay.
Forward to
I-
God.
when
And
it
see,
comes to how
he's going
the
away
virus
from the
is handled
topic
so
and
far,
going at Joe.
the two of
He
you
ain't got
have
Because
no-
he
very
can't-
different
he can't
approaches, and
skip.
this is going to affect how the virus is handled going forward by whichever of you ends up becoming the next president. I want to quickly go through several of those.
Good job.
Reopening.
Good job, Chris.
Vice President Biden,
Stop
you
that
have
shit.
been much more reluctant than President Trump about reopening the economy and school. Why, sir?
because
Mhm. You don't get that much time to talk shit, nigga. If you were saying something,
You've got to
I would've
provide
let you
these
talk.
businesses
Yeah, you know,
the ability to
just
have the
always
money
have
to be able to reopen with the PPE
Mm-mm.
as well as with the sanitation they need. You have to
Tell
provide
that
them
to Nancy
plastic.
Pelosi.
Well, he's just shush for a minute.
Tell it to
The-
Nancy
the-
Pelosi.
And
Schumer,
by the
Brian
way,
Schumer.
Nancy Pelosi and Schumer, they have a plan. He won't even meet with them. The Republicans won't meet with the Senate. And he sits on his golf course. And I mean, literally, think about it.
You probably play
think
more
about
than I do, Joe.
What
Cry
about
and shut.
discussion of reopening and the fact
Well, he wants to shut down this country. And I want to keep it open. And we did a great thing by shutting it down. Wait a minute, Joe. Let me shut you down for a second, Joe, just for 1 second.
Doubt that.
We want to.
Doubt that.
He wants to shut down the country. We just went through it. We had to because we didn't know anything about the disease. Now we found that elderly people with heart problems and diabetes and other problems are very, very vulnerable. We learned a lot. Young children
Wait a minute,
aren't. Even younger people aren't. We've learned a lot. But he wants to shut it down. More people will be hurt by continuing. If you look at Pennsylvania, if you look at certain states that have been shut down, they have Democrat governors all. One of the reasons they shut down
That's
is
a lot.
because they want to
Call
keep
him on
shut
it, Joe.
down
That's a
until
lot.
after the election.
Call him on it,
I
Joe.
want to move on to another
Because
subject.
it's a
I want to move
political-
on to another
Call
subject.
him
Which
on
is-
it,
I
Joe.
wanna
That's
move
a
on
fucking
to-
lie.
I
Those
wanna move
states
on to
are
another
not
subject,
doing well that are shut down
which is
right now.
masks. President
Joe,
Trump, you have begun
What are you doing?
to increasingly question
What are
the
you doing,
effectiveness
Joe?
of masks as a disease preventer. And in fact, recently you have cited the issue of waiters touching their masks and touching plates. Are you questioning
No, I think
the
masks are
efficacy of
okay. You have to
masks?
understand, if you look, I mean, I have a mask right here. I put the mask on it when I think
So
I need
just
it.
let that pass.
Tonight, as an example, everybody's had a test and you've had social distancing,
Yeah.
all of the things that you have to.
Please touch on
Wear
all the
masks
lies
when
he
needed.
said, 'cause he
When
just
needed,
threw
I
like
wear
3 of them out
Okay, let me ask.
I don't wear masks.
Oh,
like
you
him.
got the
Every time
mask
see him,
right
he's
here?
got a mask.
You got the mask right
200 feet away from it, he shows up with the biggest mask I've ever seen. I will
Vice-
say, I will say,
Vice President Biden, go ahead, sir.
Look, the way to open businesses is give them the wherewithal to be able to. We provided money.
But I was asking you, sir, about masks.
Masks make a big difference. His own CDC said if we just wore masks between now, if everybody wore masks and social distance between now and January, we'd probably save up to 100,000 lives. It matters.
and they've also
It
said the
matters.
opposite. They've
And
also said
no serious person said the opposite.
They've
No
also said- well, look at,
serious
all right, I
look
wanna
at
ask-
Dr. Fauci said the
He
opposite.
did
I
not
want
say
to
the
ask you,
opposite.
we have
Very
more than a
strongly.
minute left in the
Masks
segment.
are not good. Then he changed his mind. He said masks.
I
I'm
wanna
okay
ask-
with masks.
I
I'm
want to
not
ask you
fighting
both about one last subject because your different approaches has even affected the way that you have campaigned. President Trump, you're holding large rallies with crowds packed together, thousands of people. Outside, yes, sir. I agree. Vice President Biden, you are
Yeah,
holding
it's under
much
Dr.
smaller
Man, this
events
man.
with
Because nobody will show up.
When I
people with
Yes.
What's
But
true?
yeah.
Nobody shows up to his rally.
But
in
he
any
not-
case,
he
why
not-
you
he
holding
not
big
getting
rallies?
this nigga
Why
no.
not?
telling too many
Go
lies
first.
and he letting him get away with that.
People want to hear what
As
I have
soon
to
as this
say.
nigga start
I mean,
telling
But are you
lies,
not
they
worried
start
about
yelling
Johnson
that
as
shit.
president?
Like, no,
And I'll have
no, that's a lie. That's a lie.
25,000
That's a
people
lie.
show up at
Fuck that, nigga,
airports.
you're lying.
We use airports.
Are you
to
not
hang
worried
gonna
people.
get
about
away
We
with
have a
it.
lot of
Oh,
people.
yeah, see, that's
Well,
what I
so
did
far,
expect.
we have had no problem whatsoever.
Like, no,
It's
that's a lie.
outside. That's a big
Then let them
difference
talk for a
according to
minute and
the
be like, that's a lie.
experts. We do them
No,
outside. We
that's a
have
lie.
tremendous
He needs
crowds,
to fact
as you
check
see,
this nigga.
Dr.
every-
Fauci didn't say that.
and literally on 24
No, he
hours
didn't do that.
notice. And Joe
That's
does
a
the
lie.
circles and has 3 people sometimes.
No, that
Wait,
was
by the way, did you
That's-
see
that's-
that one of the last big rallies he had? And a reporter came up to him to ask him a question. He said, "No, no, no, stand back. Put on your mask. Put on a mask. Have you been tested? I'm way far away from those other people." That's what he said. I'm going to be okay. He's not worried about you. He's not worried about the people out there breathing in one another.
We've had no negative
cheek to
effect.
jowl. No negative effect.
We've had no negative effect. And we've had 35, 40,000
All right,
people.
you want
in
to
these rallies.
just
Yes.
quickly finish up because I want to move on to our next.
Yes, I would. He's been totally irresponsible the way in which he has handled the social distancing and people
There
wearing
you
masks.
go.
Basically encourage them not to.
All right.
And he's a fool.
If you could get the crowds, you would have done the same thing. But you
No,
can't.
No,
You
you
can't.
for real?
Can we
'Cause
move
your
on to
man
the
died at one of your
settlement?
rallies.
Can we move on to the economy?
Yes.
The
Why are you
economy
not bringing that up?
is, I think it's fair to say,
Like,
recovering
I
faster
don't
than
be worried about
expected from the shutdown.
Much-
This-
You remember
In the
that
second
shit?
quarter, the
Mhm.
unemployment rate fell to 8.4% last month. The Federal Reserve says the
So
hit
why are
Gentlemen,
you?
can we move on
growth
to the
which is
economy?
going to be there is not going to be nearly as big
Is, I think
as
it's fair
they
to say
had
recovering
expected.
faster than
President Trump, you say
expected
we
from
are
the
in a
shutdown.
V-shaped
What is in the second
recovery.
quarter? The unemployment
Vice
rate fell
President
to
Biden, you say it's more of a
8.4% last month.
K-shape.
The Federal
What
Reserve
difference
says
does that mean
growth, which is
to
going
the
to be
American
there,
people
is
in
not
terms of
going
the
to be
economy?
nearly as
President
big
Trump, in
as
this
they had
segment, you go
expected.
first.
We built the greatest economy in history. We closed it down because of the China plague. When the plague came in, we closed it down, which was very hard psychologically to do. He didn't think we should close it down, and he was wrong. And again, 2 million people would be dead now.
Motherfucker's a K-shape.
Still,
That's what I'm saying. I was trying to figure that out.
It's too much. One person is too much. Should have never happened from China. But what happened is we closed it down.
Now
and
it's the
we're
plague?
reopening, and we're doing record
It's not the virus.
We had
Nah, it's
10.4
the
million people in a 4-month
Is
period.
the
We've
China
put
plague
back into
now?
the workforce. That's a record the likes of which nobody's ever seen before. And he wants to close down. He will shut it down again. He will destroy this country. You know, a lot of people between drugs and alcohol and depression. When you start shutting it down, you take a look at what's happening in some of your Democrat-run states where they have these tough shutdowns. And I'm telling you, it's because they don't want to open it. One of them came out last week. You saw that. Oh, we're going to open up on November 9th. Why November 9th?
Joe.
Because it's after the election.
Joe.
They think they're hurting us by keeping them closed. They're hurting people. People know what to do. They can social distance. They can wash their hands. They can wear masks. They can do whatever they want. But they got to open these states up. When you look at North Carolina, when you look, and these governors are under siege. Pennsylvania, Michigan, and a couple of others. We got to open these states up. It's not fair. You're talking about almost it's like being in prison. And you look at what's going on with divorce. Look at what's going on with alcoholism and drugs. It's a very, very sad thing. And he'll close down the whole country. This guy will close down the whole country and destroy our country. Our country is coming back incredibly well.
Bro, Michigan is
Setting
open, ain't
records
it?
as it does it. We don't need
I see
somebody
Gary
to
at the
come in
gym
and
all the
say,
time.
let's
I
shut
don't
it
know what
down.
he means.
All right. Your 2 minutes, sir. We're now moving to you.
That's because this nigga Joe
As I
sitting there.
said, posing the question, the
He's
president
about
says it's a V-shaped
right.
recovery. You say it's a K-shaped recovery.
Duh, why do
What's
you
the
keep
difference?
letting this
Difference
nigga say
is
you're going to destroy the country?
Millionaires and billionaires like him, in the middle of the COVID crisis, have done very well.
Your 2 minutes, sir.
Another billionaires have raised.
Nigga, if you
made
don't
another
say some
$300
hard shit
billion
about this nigga,
because of his profligate tax proposal, and they only focus on the market. But you folks at home, you folks living in Scranton and Claymont and all the small towns and working class towns in America, how well are you doing? This guy paid a total of $750 in taxes.
Sir, wait, no, sir. It's yeah, I understand. You've agreed to the 2 minutes, so please let him have it.
Do I get my time back? The fact is that he has, in fact, worked on this in a way that he's going to be the first president of the United States to leave office, having fewer jobs in his administration than when he became
there we go.
Uh-huh.
and when he became president. First one in American history. Secondly, the people who have lost their jobs are those people who have been on the front lines, those people who have been saving our lives, those people who have been out there dying, people who've been putting themselves in a way to make sure that we could all try to make it. And the idea that he is insisting that we go forward and open when you have almost half the states in America with a significant increase in COVID deaths and COVID cases in the United States of America. And he wants
Mhm.
to open it up more. Why does he want to open it up? Why doesn't he take care of the American? You can't fix the economy until you fix the COVID crisis. And he has no intention of doing anything about making it better for you all at home in terms of your health and your safety. Schools. Why are schools open? Because it costs a lot of money to open them safely. You know, they were going to give, his administration was going to give the teachers and school students masks. Then they decided, no, couldn't do that because it's not a national emergency. Not a national emergency. They've done nothing to help small businesses. Nothing. They're closing. 1 in 6 is now gone. He ought to get on the job and take care of the needs of the American people so we can open safely.
All right, your time is up, sir. We are going to get to.
I
We're
have
going
to respond to that.
Well, you both have 2 minutes, sir.
Excuse me. You made a statement.
So did you.
People want their schools. No, people want their schools open. They don't want to be shut down. They don't want their state shut down. They want their restaurants. I look at New York. It's so sad what's happening in New York. It's almost like a ghost town. And I'm not sure it can ever recover what they've done.
No, you don't
They
get no
want their
response.
places open.
No, nigga, you
They
both
want to
got
get back
2
to
minutes.
their lives.
People
No,
They'll be
no,
careful,
no,
but they
no.
want their schools
Chris
open.
Wallace,
I'm
no,
the one that brought
no.
back football. By the way, I brought back
See?
Big Ten football.
That's when I was.
Why are you
young.
letting
And
this nigga?
I'm very happy to do it.
I'll be cut.
All right,
This
let's
nigga
move
old
on.
Joe
I'm
Hart.
very proud of me. And you
We're
know,
going to get
Oh,
back,
mm.
gentlemen, we're going to get to your
You-
economic
it's
plans
obviously-
forward in a moment. But first, Mr. President,
That's not fair.
as you
ain't-
well know,
not
there's a
let
new
you
report
smoke
that in
Fuck all that.
2016, the year you were elected president, in 2017, your first year
It was
as
you,
president,
huh?
that you paid
was you.
$750 a year in federal income tax each of those years. I know that you pay a lot of other taxes, but I'm asking you the specific question. Is it true that you
Uh-huh.
paid $750 in federal
Ooh.
income taxes each of those 2 years?
I paid millions of dollars in taxes, millions of dollars in income tax. And let me just tell you, there was a story in one of the papers.
Show us your tax
I paid $38 million one year. I paid $27 million.
Show us your tax return.
I went. You'll see it as soon as it's finished. You'll see it. You know, if you want to do, go to the Board of Elections. There's 118 pages or
And
so
federal
report.
taxes.
That's not
It
what
says
he asked.
everything I have, every bank I have, I'm totally under leveraged because the assets are
Yeah.
extremely good, and we have a
Keep
very.
saying it. Say
we
it
have a-
again.
I built
That's
our.
not
I'm
what I
asking
asked.
you a specific question, which
But
is.
let me
Say
tell
it
you,
again.
I understand all of that.
Say it
I
again.
understand
Say it
all of that.
again.
No,
Say it
Mr.
again.
President, I'm asking you
Say
a
it
question.
again.
Will you tell us how much you paid in federal income taxes in
Say it again.
2016 and 2017?
millions of dollars.
You paid
Say
millions
it
of
again.
dollars.
Millions
Joe.
of dollars.
So
yes.
not 750.
Millions of dollars, and you'll get.
I don't
to
want to
see-
go through shit.
And
Show
you'll
it.
get to see
When?
it.
Show
But
it.
let me
Yeah.
just tell you, Chris. Let me just say something.
Yeah.
that It was the tax laws. I don't want to.
Now he needs to say that
Before
for
I
the
came
rest
here,
of the debate.
I was a private developer. I was a private business people. Like every other private person, unless they're stupid, they go through the laws, and that's what it is. He passed a tax bill that gave us all these privileges for depreciation and for tax credits. We built a building and we get tax credits.
Get
like
on
Intel
him, Joe.
on
Why you?
Pennsylvania Avenue, you get a
Okay.
massive.
He's supposed
by
to
the
be
way,
all in
was
this
given
nigga's
to
ass
me
right
by
now.
It's
the
okay.
Obama
Chris got him for
administration,
some
if you can believe it.
No, it's
Now,
not
the man got
okay.
fired
No.
right
It's
after that
not
happened.
okay.
Vice
No,
President
that
Biden-
shit ain't
This
clear at
nigga's
all.
supposed
I
to
do
be.
want to respond.
Chris got him.
Look, the tax
Like,
code
I-
made him
in
put him in a
2016,
position that he pays less tax than a school teacher.
Because this nigga, he making sure he
is
answers
because of
the
him
question.
taking.
Yeah.
He says he's smart because he can take advantage of the tax.
Joe,
And he
this
does
nigga
take
Joe
advantage
is
of the
the
tax.
bitch.
That's why
I wish
I'm gonna
Kamala was
eliminate the
here.
Trump tax.
Oh,
I wish
yeah.
Kamala or
Yeah.
Bernie. I know
Eliminate
Bernie
those
be in this
taxes.
nigga ass too.
Yeah.
And make sure
Yeah, you
that we
will. Bernie
invest
don't
in
stop
people who in
So
fact
that's
No.
why
need
that's why
help.
Bernie.
People out there
This
that
man
need help.
is a
Why
liar.
did you do it over
Period.
20
He's a
for the
liar
last
and a
25
cheat.
years?
Because
I
you
wanna
were
Billionaires
president,
who want to
because you
do
weren't president stirring things up.
We need to
Should
take
have
him
been
down.
like-
The worst president America has
What
ever
did you do?
had.
What did you
Come
do?
on.
I'm saying, like,
Let me
he
just
asked
say, Joe,
questions.
I've done more
This man just
in
took
47
seconds.
months.
I
I've
need
done
that
more
five
than you've done
right
in
back.
47
Right.
years, Joe. We've done things
Oh,
that you
man,
never even
Bernie.
thought of doing,
Okay.
including
Gentlemen,
fixing the
Bernie,
broken
fuck all y'all
military that
people
you
who
gave
would
me,
never vote
including
for him.
taking care of
We're
your
talking,
vets.
Mr. President, we're talking about the economy. I'd like to ask
Him
you
first.
about your plans going forward because, Mr. Vice President, your economic plan, if you were to be
Yes.
elected president, focuses a lot on big government, big taxes, big spending. I want to focus first on the taxes. You propose more than $4 trillion over a decade in new taxes on individuals making more than $400,000 a year and on
I think you
corporations.
should have gave him.
President Trump says that that kind of a increase in
That's what I
Yeah.
taxes
But
is
he's
Yeah.
trying
going
to
to
keep 'em
hurt
in
the
control.
economy as it's just coming out
That
of a
was
recession.
Well, just taking a look at
He's
the
the worst
analysis
ever
done by Wall Street firms points out that my economic plan would create 7 million more jobs than his in 4 years, number one. And number two, it would create an additional $1 trillion in economic growth because it would be about buying America.
No, it's gonna hurt
We're going to
the
make the
stock
federal
market.
government spend $600 billion
It's
a
the
year
difference.
on everything
Right.
from
These
ships
motherfuckers,
to
Trump see the
steel
stock
to
market
buildings
is the
and the like.
economy.
And under my
And
proposal,
it's not the
we're going to
economy.
make sure
The
that
stock market
every
can
penny of
crash
that
and the
has
economy
to
can
be
still
made
do okay.
by
But
companies.
respectfully,
You know what
sir,
I'm
I'm talking
saying?
about taxes, not spending.
Well, by
Yeah.
the way, I'm going to eliminate a significant number of the tax. I'm going to
Yeah,
That
and
whatever
people
stuff.
still gonna spend
the
because
corporate tax
the only
28%.
people that's
It
gonna
should
lose
be
money
21%.
is the rich.
You have 19 companies.
You know what I'm
91
saying?
companies.
The
federal,
middle class and the poor
Fortune
still gonna be the
500. You
same.
don't pay a single
We're
penny
not
of
losing
tax, making
everything.
billions of
That's the
dollars.
reason why people
Billions of
vote
dollars.
Vice
Because
Obama.
because
like
you
that.
in fact
Mhm.
passed that. That was
Right.
your
I got
tax
it.
proposal.
I got it done. And you know
Your
what
money
happened?
is
You got
not
it done.
Our
in their
economy
system.
boomed like it's never boomed.
Right.
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 Mr.
Right.
President, let me finish.
Mr. President, let me pick up on that. You would continue your free market approach, lower
man.
taxes, more deregulation, correct?
Not lower taxes in America.
Yeah.
Let me, but in Obama's, you know, the economy boomed. It turns out that in Obama's
Yeah,
final
right?
3
Why he
years
talking
as
about why he didn't do it when he
more
was president?
jobs
Nigga,
were
you
created,
made the
1.5
law.
million more jobs.
You made the
than in the
law. What are
first
you
3
talking
years
about? Why
your
I
presidency.
We had the
was vice
slowest
president.
recovery since
This nigga Trump
economic
is something
recovery
else,
since
dog.
1929. It was the
And still
slowest
he got
recovery.
still he got him
Also,
on the ropes.
they took over something that was down here. All you had to do is turn on the lights and you pick up a lot. But they had the slowest economic recovery since 1929. Let me tell you about the stock market. When the stock market goes up, that means jobs. It also means 401ks. If you got in, if you ever became president with your ideas, you want to terminate my taxes.
He
I'll
just
tell you
gave
what,
you back.
lose half of the companies
Right.
that have poured in here will leave, and plenty
Half
of
of the
companies that are
companies
already here, they'll leave for
hardly
other
any
places.
have.
They will
Well,
leave, and you will have a depression, the likes of which you've never seen.
Look,
Mr.
we
Vice
inherited
No,
the
it
worst
don't.
recession
No, it don't.
short of a depression
No, it
in American
don't.
history.
Joe, why
I
is
was
you letting
asked
this
to bring
nigga
it
say
back.
that shit,
We
dog?
were able to have an economic recovery
Oh
that
my
you're
God.
talking about.
This nigga's
We
gonna
handed
lose,
him a
dog.
booming
And I don't
economy.
mean to
He
debate.
blew it.
It wasn't
Yeah,
even
no, me neither.
He
It
No,
wasn't
he's
booming.
losing.
It
It
was
was
a-
It was the
Oh, yeah.
biggest
Oh, yeah. He's
recovery
Sir, is
losing
it
since
fair to,
debates.
wait, is it
If
fair
he
to,
keep
is
losing
it
these
fair to say
debates
he
by
blew
letting
it
this nigga blatantly
when
lie.
COVID came.
when there was
You know what I'm
record
saying?
low unemployment
I mean, I can see
before
what they
COVID?
tried to
Yeah,
do,
but
it's
because
not
what he
working.
did, even before COVID, manufacturing.
It's also
went
not
nowhere.
working because you can't let Joe
Manufacturing
do.
went in a
I don't
hole.
think Joe can do
Excuse
that.
Number one.
Chris,
Wait.
Number two.
Chris,
Number three.
they said it would take. No, you were number two.
No.
Joe likes to take a
Chris,
long
Chris,
time. He likes to talk.
They said it would
This
take
guy.
a miracle
Uh-huh.
to
And I
bring back
get it, but
manufacturing.
then he needs
I
to cut
brought
in.
back
He
700,000
doesn't have
jobs.
them
They
quick.
brought back
No.
nothing. They
Except
gave up
for
on
that, you're the
manufacturing.
worst
We're
president
not-
ever.
Standard fare.
I'm the guy that
He
brought
totally
back the
gave up on
automobile
manufacturing.
industry. We brought back, I was asked to bring back Chrysler and General Motors. We brought them back right here in the state of Ohio and Michigan. He blew it. They're gone. He blew it. And in fact, we're going
Why
Ohio
are
had
you-
the best year it's
You
ever
let
had
that nigga
last
bitch
year.
and basically, hey,
Michigan
no, you
had the
shut up,
best
bitch.
year they've ever
Right.
had.
That is not
Many
true.
car companies came in from Germany, from
Not-
Japan, went to Michigan, went to
They're
Ohio.
not.
And they
Mr.
didn't
Vice-
come
wait,
in
wait,
with you.
Mr. Vice President.
And so you take a look at what he's actually done. He's done very little. His trade deals are the same way. He talks about these great trade deals. You know, he
Yeah.
talks about the art of the deal. China's perfected the art of the steal. We have a higher deficit with China now than we did before.
Is that true?
We have the highest
Okay, there we
ever
go.
trade deficit with
China
There we
ate
go.
Mexico.
it's down
Alright, gentlemen,
85%.
in-
Yeah.
China ate
But he
Europe
said
still,
he
and
said
no
that's
wonder
not
your
true.
son
He called
goes
him
in
out
and
on
he
this.
takes out he takes out billions of dollars, takes out billions of dollars to manage. He makes millions of dollars. And also, while we're at it, why is it, just out of curiosity, the mayor of Moscow's wife gave your son $3.5 million. What did he do to deserve it? What did he do with Marissa to deserve $183,000?
That's what I mean. Like, Joe don't
None
want
of
that.
that is true.
Oh, really?
You know what I'm saying?
But no,
He just cut into him like
Totally- Totally
That's
discredited. Totally discredited. And by the way,
Well, wait, he didn't get
Yeah, yeah.
$3.5 million?
Mr. Vice
$3.5 million.
President,
It is not true.
Really?
Mr.
Uh-oh.
President, it's an open discussion, please.
It's a fact.
Well,
There's,
you have raised an issue, let
Uh-oh.
Mr. Vice President answer.
discredited.
It
There was a report.
$183,000 a month with no experience in energy.
Mr.
Look,
no
President,
my
job.
son did nothing wrong at
I
Burisma.
think he did.
Mr.
Only
President,
guy
let him answer.
He just said no,
didn't want
nigga.
me to answer because he knows I have the truth. His position has been totally, thoroughly discredited.
By who?
Now, by everybody. Well, by
It's
the
not a
media, by
fact.
our allies, by the World Bank,
You can't just say shit is
by
fact, bro.
everyone
Right.
as discredited. Matter of fact, even the people
President,
who
please stop.
testified under oath.
So let me
Under
ask you
oath.
this,
Henry,
Joe.
under
No,
oath.
go ahead, Mr. I'm listening to
Even
you.
people under
$3.5
he
million
testified,
Moscow.
he testified under oath in his administration, said, I did my job and I did it very well. I did
Really?
it
I don't know
honorably.
who they are.
Well, I'll give you the list of the
I'll fire
people who
No,
testified.
no, go ahead, sir.
Sure, they've already fired most of them because they did a
Some
good
people
job.
do, some people don't.
Well,
But here's-
Go ahead, you get the, wait a minute, you get the final word.
Well, it's hard to get any word in with this. Excuse me, this.
Hey, let me just say,
No, Mr. President,
$3.5 million.
President,
That is simply
Why did
not
he
true.
deserve $3.5 million from Moscow?
Look, here's the deal. I want to talk about families and ethics. I don't want to do that. I mean, his family we can talk about all night. His family's
My
already
family,
No, let him go.
my
already
family
wrote
lost a
You
fortune
gotta- you
coming
gotta-
down and helping
Go ahead.
us with
Go ahead.
government.
And that's such a
You're right
That's
here.
it, Mr.
That's
President.
such a great.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
about your
Don't
family.
excuse
It's
yourself.
American people.
Don't excuse
It doesn't-
yourself.
That's not true. It doesn't want to talk about what you need. You, the American
Oh,
people.
boy.
It's about you. That's what we're talking about.
All right,
It's
that's
not
the end
about
of the,
him.
that's the end of the segment. We're moving on.
It didn't take too
Vice
much.
President,
Can I be honest? It's a very important
Try to be
question.
No,
honest.
He stood up.
No,
He stood up.
the answer to the
and he
question is no.
threatened Ukraine
No, sir.
with $1 billion.
That is
You know what, you're-
absolutely not
Stop.
true.
You're gonna
Not
have,
true.
gentlemen, I hate to raise my voice, but I think,
Yes.
why should I be different than the two of you? So here's the
That's it.
we
He
have
don't want to talk about us. He
six
want to talk
segments.
about
We've
you.
ended that segment. We're going to go to the next segment. In that segment, you each are going to have 2 uninterrupted moments. In those 2 uninterrupted minutes, Mr. President, you can say anything you want. I'm going to ask a question about race, but if you want to answer about something else, go ahead. But I think that the country would be better served if we allowed fewer interruptions. I'm appealing to you, sir.
Well, and him too.
Well, frankly, you've been doing more
Well,
interrupting than
that's
he
all right,
has.
but he does
Chris
plenty.
Wallace died.
Well, less than you have. Let's please continue on. The issue of race. Vice President Biden, you say that President Trump's response to the violence in Charlottesville 3 years ago, when he talked about very fine people on both sides, was what directly led you to launch this
No,
run for president.
Right.
President Trump, you have often said,
No, he
literally,
doesn't.
you have
No,
done
he
more for
I'm
Black Americans
begging
than
Joe
any
to interrupt
president,
more.
with the possible exception
Fucking
of
prick,
Abraham
man.
Lincoln. My question for the two of you is why should voters trust you rather than your opponent to deal with the race issues facing
Uh-huh.
this country over the next 4 years? Vice President Biden, you go first.
It's about equity and equality. It's about decency. It's about the Constitution. And we have never
Oh,
walked
yeah,
around
sure.
trying to acquire equity for everyone,
Really?
equality for the whole of America. But we've never accomplished
Exception
it. We've never
of Abraham?
walked away from it like he has done. It is
He
true.
did
The
say
reason I
that.
got in
He
the
did
race
say
was
that.
those
The
people
exception.
lives. Remember what those people look like.
The man who
Except
freed the
for
slaves.
Torches,
Abraham Lincoln.
their veins bulging, spewing, just spewing.
I haven't seen it. Have you seen it?
Accompanied by the Ku
What?
Klux Klan. A young woman got
What he
killed.
did for us.
And they asked the
No,
president what he
of
thought. He
course
said they were very
I
fine
didn't even know the hell
on
you
both
was talking
sides.
about like that.
No president's ever said anything
I just
like
seen
I
that.
haven't- I haven't seen. I haven't
Now,
seen.
second,
I can't believe
second
he
point
said,
I make
though. Like, I thought
is
he
that
said
when
something else, but
Floyd
you know
was
you
killed,
said
when
it.
Mr. Floyd was killed,
Get out of here.
there was a peaceful
Right.
protest in front of the White House. What did he do? He came out of his bunker, had the military use tear gas on him so he could walk across to a church and hold up a Bible. And then what happened after that? The bishop of that very church said that it was
On
the
both
disgrace.
sides. You see that on
The
both
general
sides.
who was with him
On
said
both
all he ever wants to do is divide people, not unite people at all. This is a president
On
who
both
has
sides.
used everything as a dog whistle to try to generate racist hatred, racist division. This is a man who, in fact, you talk about helping African Americans. 1 in 1,000 African Americans has been killed because of the coronavirus. And if he doesn't do something quickly, by the end of the year, 1 in 500 will have been killed. 1 in 500 African Americans. This man is the savior of African Americans. This man cares at all. This man's done virtually nothing. The fact is that you have to look at what he talks about. You have to look at what he did. And what he did has been disastrous for the African American community.
So
President Trump, you have 2 minutes. Why should Americans trust you over your opponent to deal with
he
racism?
did a crime bill,
No, I
1994,
turned it off.
where you
Nah,
call
Mr.
them super predators,
Nah,
African
nah,
Americans, super predators, and they've never forgotten it. They've
This
never
man's
forgotten
done
it, Joe.
virtually
No, sir. It's his 2 minutes.
So you
Fact
did
is
that,
that you
and they
have to
call you a
look at
super
what he
predator,
talks
and I'm
about.
letting people
You
out
have
of
to
jail
look at
now
what he
that
did.
you have
What he
treated
did
the
has been
African American
disastrous for the African
population community, you have treated the
Mhm.
black community
President Trump
about as
told
bad
Exactly.
as
why
anybody
should
in this country. You did
Americans
the
trust
1990,
you
and that's
over
why,
your
if you look
opponent?
at the
I'm feeling
polls,
that.
I'm
That was
doing better
nice.
than any Republican has done in a
Oh
long
my
time
God.
because they saw
Oh
what
my
you did.
God. Is this
You
nigga
called
going
them
back to
super
94?
predators,
What
and
does
you've
that got to
called
do
them
with
worse
anything?
than that. Because you look back
What
at
does
your
that got to
testimony
do?
over the years, you've called them a lot worse than that. As far as the church is concerned, and as far as the generals are concerned, we just got the support of 250 military leaders and generals. Total support. Law enforcement, almost every law enforcement group in the United States. I have Florida, I have Texas, I have Ohio, I have
Yep.
Portland.
You
The
got like a
sheriff just
good,
came
like,
out today and he
8%.
said, I support President Trump. I don't think you have any law enforcement. You can't even say the word law enforcement because if you say those words, you're going to lose all of your radical left supporters. And why aren't you saying those words, Joe? Why don't you say the words law enforcement? Because you know what? If they called us in Portland, we would put out that fire in a half an hour, but they won't do it because they're run by radical left Democrats. If you look at Chicago, if you look at any place you want to look, Seattle, they heard we were coming in the following day and they put up their hands and we got back Seattle. Minneapolis, we got it back, Joe, because we believe in law and order, but you don't. The top 10 cities and just about the top 40 cities are run by Democrats and in many cases radical left. And they've got you wrapped around their finger, Joe, to a point where you don't want to say anything about law and order. And I'll tell you what, the people of this country want and demand law and order, and you're afraid to even say it.
All right. I want to return to the question of race. Vice President Biden, after the grand jury in the Breonna Taylor case decided not to charge any of the police with homicide, you said it raises the question, quote, whether justice could be equally applied in America. Do you believe that there is a separate but unequal system of justice for blacks in this country?
Yes, there's systemic injustice in this country, in education and work
I want to
and
return to
in
the
law
question
enforcement
of race.
and the way
Vice
in which
President
it's
Biden, after
enforced.
the grand jury in the
The vast
I
majority
can't
of
know
police
what he's
officers
talking about
are good,
for a while.
decent, honorable
Yeah,
men
because
and
that
women.
nigga wasn't
They
gonna talk
risk their
about the
lives every
topic.
day to take care of us.
Damn.
But there are some
He
bad
brought up
apples when
race
they
and what
occur,
you
when
did
they
for black
find them, they
people,
have to
and
be
he started
sorted
talking
out.
about what
They
Joe
have to
did
be
back
held
in '94.
accountable. They have to be held
Come the
accountable.
fuck
You gotta
on,
What
bro.
I'm going to do as President of the United States is call together an entire group of people at the White House, well, everything from the civil rights
Motherfucker
movement,
dad there
police
couldn't get that shit out of his
officers,
mouth.
police chiefs, and we're going to work this out. We're going to work this out so we change the way in which we have more transparency. And when these
Oh
things
yeah,
happen,
that's right.
these
Joe used
cops
to have a
aren't happy
stuttering
to see
problem.
what happened
That's right.
Yeah.
to George Floyd.
That's
These
right.
cops aren't happy to see what happened to Breonna Taylor.
Oh, that's kind of
Most
messed up when you
don't
think
like it,
about it. 'Cause he
but we
probably
have to
nervous
have a
because he know
system
he getting
where
bad
people are held
handed.
accountable.
Right.
And by the way, violence in
Stuttering
response is
Joe.
never
Hell
appropriate.
yeah.
Never appropriate. Peaceful protest is. Violence is never appropriate.
All right,
What is peaceful
Uh,
protest?
uh.
When they run through
Hey.
the middle of a
President
town
Trump,
and burn down your
President
Yeah, I
stores
hope.
and kill
Well,
people
I
all
don't know.
over the place,
That
you
is
say
not
peaceful
peaceful.
President
protest.
Trump,
No, it's
I'm not
not.
asking
You say it
Yeah,
is.
talk about
President
his
Trump, I'd
stuttering.
like to continue with the
Yes,
issue
go
of
ahead.
race. I
He's so
promise we're
Trump
going
like
to get
that.
to the issue
Trump
of
will
law and
hold
order
Yeah.
in a moment. This month, your administration directed federal agencies to end racial sensitivity training that addresses white privilege or critical race theory. Why did you decide to do that, to end racial sensitivity training? And do you believe that there is systemic racism in this country?
I ended it because it's
Wait a
racist.
minute.
I ended
Where
it
have they
because
done
a lot
that
of
at?
people were complaining that they were asked to do things that were absolutely insane. That
Hey,
it was
I'm about to show you
radical
something real quick.
revolution that was
This
taking
my
place
sister-in-law.
in our
Look at that
military,
joint.
in our
You
schools,
see it?
all over the
Yeah.
place, and you know it, and so does everybody
what
else.
is radical?
And he would know.
What is
Oh, it was
radical
totally
about
racist.
racial sensitivity?
Oh, I saw it now. I
If you
see
were
it.
a certain person,
Yeah, let me see.
you
Yeah,
had
that's still a
no
lot of
status in life. It was sort of a reversal.
That bitch
And
was
if
like,
you
it
look
was,
at the
it
people,
was
we would
bigger
pay
than my
people
fucking
hundreds
head,
of
bro.
thousands of dollars to teach very bad ideas and frankly very sick ideas. And
So that
really,
that's when we
they were
first
teaching people
Oh,
to hate
okay.
our country.
that's when we
And I'm
first
not going
lit
to
it.
do that.
It
I'm
was
not going
only
to allow
like,
that to happen.
well, with the filter,
We have to
it's
go
probably
back
like
to
that.
the core
It was only
values of
like
this
that much
country.
money.
They were
Oh,
teaching
okay.
people
I'm
that
thinking
our
like that's
country
y'all
is a
left already?
horrible place. It's a
And it was
racist
only
place, and they were teaching people to hate our country.
it was only
And I'm
6
not going to
of us
allow
on it.
that to happen.
Vice President
Yeah,
Biden.
well, I thought that's
Nobody's
what
You
you
know
doing
what I'm
that.
saying?
y'all
Just
like. Y'all,
no,
what
racist.
was y'all? What
Here's the
the
deal.
fuck?
I
Y'all
know a lot
hate
more.
You
than
don't
just
need
me.
it.
real
President
fat.
The
I
fact
didn't
is
see
that
niggas smoking
there
those
is
before.
Right.
racial insensitivity. People have to be made aware
I didn't
of what
see
other
niggas at
people
the
feel
show.
like, what
They have
what
like
insults, what is
leaf
demeaning to
blower,
them. It's important that people
and
know
they'll
they
have
don't
it set
want
up
to.
with
Many
the
people
thing
don't
on
want
top,
to hurt
and
other
they'll hit
people's
it with the
feelings,
blowtorch,
but
and
it's
then cut
it
the
makes a big difference.
leaf
It
blower
makes a
on,
gigantic
and it
difference
just
in the way a
blows the whole
child
pound,
is able
the
to
whole
grow up
park.
and have a
Straight.
sense of self-esteem.
Yo,
Yeah.
It's a
God.
little bit like how
Need to go to that
this
part.
guy and his friends look
And
down
that's
on
the
so
show
many
where I
people.
get my weed
They look
from.
down their nose on people
But
like
that's back
Irish
when I
Catholics like
first
me and
started
grew up in
going.
Scranton. They look down on people
You know what I'm
who don't have
saying? It was
money. They
hella
look down on
dabs,
people
and
who are
it was off
of a
the chain,
different
like that shit
faith.
was
They look
dope.
down on people who are a
COVID
different
did
color.
ended all that shit.
In fact, we're all Americans. The only way we're going to bring this country together is bring everybody
Because
together.
it
There's
is
nothing we cannot do if we do it together. We can take this on and we can defeat racism
Vice
in America.
President,
Oh,
President
God.
Trump, sir.
During the Obama Biden administration, there was tremendous division. There was hatred. You look at Ferguson, you look at, you go to very many places. Look at Oakland. Look what happened in Oakland. Look what happened in Baltimore. Look what happened. Frankly, it was more violent than what I'm even seeing now. But the reason is that the Democrats that run these cities don't want to talk like you about law and order. And
Violent
you still
crime.
haven't mentioned.
Violent
Are you in
crime.
favor of law and order?
I'm in favor of law. You follow
Are you in
it and
favor
a
of
little
law
bit
and order? Go ahead,
Yes,
say
I'm
it.
a
You asked a question, let him
Oh my
finish.
God.
He uses
Law and
Let
order.
him, let him.
Law and order with justice.
Yeah,
people
for the
being
black
treated
president,
fairly.
nigga.
And the fact of the matter is, violent crime went down 17%, 15% in our administration.
All right.
It's gone up on his watch.
Went down
He,
much more.
he had.
All right, we're down.
He is president of
Mr.
the
President,
United
you're going
States
to.
of America.
Mr. President,
No.
Mr. President, you're going to be very happy because we're now going to talk about law and
This
order.
is me in trouble with Democratic-run cities.
That's exactly my question. There has been a dramatic increase in homicides in America this summer, particularly, and you often blame that on Democratic mayors and Democratic governors, but in fact, there have been equivalent spikes in Republican-led cities like Tulsa and Fort Worth. So the question is this really a party issue?
I think it's a party issue. You can bring in a couple of examples, but if you look at Chicago, what's going on in Chicago, where 53 people were shot and 8 died shot. If you look at New York, where
I'm already
it's going
talking
up
about
like
it.
nobody's ever seen anything. The numbers are going up 100, 150, 200% in crime. It is crazy what's going on. And he doesn't want to say law and order because he can't, because he'll lose his radical left supporters. And once he does that, it's over with. But if he ever got to run this country and they ran it the way he would want to run it, we would have, our suburbs would be gone. By the way, our suburbs would be gone. And you would see problems like
He
you've never
would
seen.
know a suburb unless he took a wrong turn.
Oh, I know suburbs.
He would
so
not.
much
I was
better.
wait a minute.
I was raised in the suburbs. This is not 1950. All these dog whistles and racism don't work anymore. Suburbs are by and large integrated. There's many people today driving their kids to soccer practice and or to black and white and Hispanic in the same car as there have been any time in the
Like,
past.
what does
It's
saying
really
law
is
and
a
order
threat
have to do
to
with
the
anything?
suburbs and our safety.
So he
It's
don't
his
want to
failure
say
to
your
deal with
racist
COVID. They're
rhetoric.
dying in the suburbs. His failure to deal with the environment. They're being flooded. They're being
Why don't you
burned
talk about
out
how
because his refusal to do anything. That's why the
Rape,
suburbs are in
fucking
trouble.
I do
crime
want to
for
talk about this issue of law and order, though. And in the joint recommendation that came from the Biden-Bernie Sanders task force, you talked about, quote, reimagining policing. First of all, what does reimagining policing mean, and do you support?
It means
Let me, if I might finish the question. What does reimagining policing mean, and do you support the Black Lives Matter call for community control of policing?
Look, what I support is
Yep.
police
Nice.
having the opportunity
Good
to
counter.
deal with
Yep.
the
Way to
problems
flip
they
the jab,
face.
Yeah,
man.
he did.
And I'm not totally opposed to
I gotta
defunding
take a
police
small break.
officers.
I'll be right back.
Matter of
All right.
fact, local police. The only one defunding it, his budget
Policing.
calls for $400 million.
First of all,
cut
what
in
does
local law enforcement
reimagining
systems.
policing
They
mean,
need
and
more
do you
assistance.
support?
They need, when they show up for a
if I might
9/11
finish the
call, to
question,
have
what does
someone, a
reimagining policing mean,
psychologist or
and do you
psychiatrist, to
support
keep
Black
them from
Lives
having
Matter
to use force and be able to
uh,
talk people down.
call
We have to
for,
have community policing like
for
we had before,
community
where
control
the
of
officers
police?
get to know the
Look,
people in
What
the
I
communities.
support is
That's when
the
crime
police
went
having the
down.
opportunity
It didn't
to
go up,
deal
it
with the
went
problems
down.
they
And
face.
so we have to
And I'm not
That's not what
totally
they're
opposed
talking
to
about.
defunding
That's
police
not what they're
officers.
That's
He's talking
Matter of
exactly
about
fact,
defunding
police,
the
local
police.
that is not
The only
true.
one
He doesn't have any law.
Hey,
He has no law.
I'm about to have
enforcement
to
support, almost
exit and
nothing.
come back.
Look,
Really, who do you have?
Yeah,
Name one group
I
that
gotta
supports
switch
you.
my
Name one
venue.
group that came out
Alright.
and supported you. Go ahead.
look,
Think. We have time.
we don't have time to do
No,
anything.
no.
All right.